everybody. Welcome to Little Fellow Sports Podcast. And as you can see today, we've got a very special guest with us. We've got the legendary English spinner Monty Panesar. Monty Panesar has represented England in all three formats. He's played 50 Test matches for England. He's picked more than 150 Test wickets, and obviously over the past generation, you can definitely say that he's one of England's best ever spinners. And even over a long period of time, you can say that he's proven to be an inspiration to so many people around the world. The way he's played his cricket, and it's I'm very glad to welcome Monty on the show. Hello, Monty. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Thank you for. Well, I'm very happy to be invited on your show.
Thank you so much, Monty. So, first of all, before we get into the cricket side of things, how's the lockdown there in the US? I mean, in the UK. I know that there's been a second wave of lockdown.
Yeah, we're here till the 2nd of December, I think, with the lockdown, and then after that, I think with Christmas coming up, people probably want to do some shopping, and also it's important for the economy that people are out and about spending their money, buying presents. We probably a sensible decision by the government to have just a few weeks lockdown so people can go out and about, and the R rate, bring that down so people can actually shop around for Christmas.
Makes sense. All right. So hope all things are safe there for you. So we'll get into the questions right now. So first of all, of course, growing up as a kid, I'm sure you would have watched some person at the start and felt that this is the guy who I want to follow. He'd be my inspiration, right? When you took up the sport when you were young. So if there was one player or one cricketer you'd say is your cricketing inspiration growing up, who would it be?
Well, I'll probably say, of course, a good question. It has to be Sachin Tendulkar,
Right.
Wasim Akram is another one. Bishan Bedi, probably, Yeah, that's probably for me.
Interesting that you haven't. I mean, you said Bishan Bedi, but your first name was Sachin, not a spinner. Were you something? Were you looking to bat?
Yeah, I think it was just his status, his how he created this persona of him being this, like godlike figure, really, for the people and around the world, and he kind of maintained that status where he performed so well. He was so focused on just performing well on the pitch that it was more of that. You could feel that it was. You can't get close to this guy. This guy's so driven to become the best in the world, and he is a human being after all. But when people talk about these godlike figures, it's about your focus on your sport and keep performing game after game, taking on the pressure, which he was unbelievable.
Makes sense. I mean, of course, Sachin's a household name across the world, and he's probably the first cricketer who probably went across borders. It wasn't just in India where people loved him. In India, Australia, England, South Africa, every cricket playing nation, or even countries like US where cricket wasn't known at that period of time, those guys also knew Sachin, as you said. And interestingly enough, so as you said, your childhood inspiration mainly was Sachin. So of course, getting your first England call up, that must have been a great moment for you. How was it? Can you describe that particular moment? How did it come about?
Yeah, that was I couldn't believe it. The night before the Test match, Andrew Flintoff called the 11 players, and I was the last on the list, and I just so happy, and I was so focused, so driven. I wanted to bowl good deliveries to all the Indian batsmen, because I knew how good they were, and I was so delighted to get my first Test wicket. I was so happy, and it was. That's where the celebration started. Couldn't believe that I took my first Test wicket as Sachin Tendulkar, and it was just, I couldn't believe it. I loved every minute of it.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you, your first Test wicket incidentally was your inspiration, as you said, Sachin. How big a moment was that for you?
Yeah, very big moment. We all know he's the greatest cricketer, one of the greatest cricketers ever, and to get you as your first Test wicket, I never thought I would get him as my first Test wicket, but when I did, I had to celebrate. I couldn't just be quiet. I had to go out there and just enjoy that moment, and I really did. I really enjoyed every minute of that, and I'm so happy for all the coaches and everyone that was involved in making me into a professional cricketer. They must have been thinking, well, it was worth it in the end to get Sachin as his first Test wicket. They were all part of that journey.
Makes sense. Also, apart from just your first Test wicket, also I am pretty sure you remember the Wankhede Test match in 2012 in Mumbai, where you bowled that absolute beauty to get Sachin out. And it was one of those series where it was genuinely historic, right? Being part of that English side, coming over to India and trying to beat India in home soil after such a long time. Like, can you specifically
Absolutely.
talk about that wicket?
Yeah, look, for me, I always wanted to bowl against the best players and get them out, and I loved it. I loved every minute of, when I had the opportunity to bowl against Sachin. I thought I want to get him out. Virinder Sehwag, Laxman, all these greats, and I did. Managed to get him out a few times, but I think it's more about they don't want easy deliveries. They want proper competitive things. So it's a mutual respect. They know that look, he gave it his best, and he was a quality cricketer, and it's something that as a cricketer, if I would ever want to say to anyone, if you're up against a competition, give it your best to beat that. It's a man against man. It's a cricketer against a cricketer, and the other cricketer, doesn't matter how great they are, they would respect you more. That actually, you know what, you took me on, in that battle. And that's what it is. That's the best thing for me, that I'm able to get that respect from the greats of the game, that they'll think, yeah, Monty put us under pressure, but good on him. He didn't back away, and that's what I love about the greats. Just getting that respect from them.
I mean, growing up watching you, one thing which always stood out was your never say die attitude. I mean, there were situations where you were put under pressure, but even against the best of the best, you fought against it and you came back and you showed your qualities. I think for sportsmen, that's the
Well,
most important thing.
that's
Keep
yeah,
fighting.
that's something my teammates, everyone said. Like the Sachin is a great cricketer, right? But you kind of like then you feel like you've earned the respect to actually talk to him, walk with him, be on the same kind of like wavelength as him, because we didn't back away, we didn't shy away. He's human after all. He goes to the toilet like all of us do. He's no separate human being or anything like that. He's worked so hard, and that's what you've got to look at. You've got to look at how hard he worked to get there, right? And that's and I think a lot of people shy away from the level of hard work he did, and that's what I love about him. I think look how hard he worked, and
Yeah, I mean,
to become the greats of the greats, and to be the best ever. And then we say to ourselves, Sachin Baji worked this hard, and he gave me one of my best experiences in life when I got him out, and I ran to point, and I thought to myself, I'm actually celebrating Sachin's greatness here. It's not me taking the first wicket, and that's what makes this guy so special, man. And sometimes I say, thank you, Sachin Baji, for being such a great cricketer. You gave me one of my best experiences in life that I thought I would never have. So that's, what I love about Sachin Tendulkar, man. It's hard work, and he, carved himself into this great cricketer. That's what you call, a superhuman being. He is a superhuman being after all, but he's just a normal human being. Even I spoke to him. He goes, I'm only a normal human being, Monty. I'm no God, I'm no nothing. Don't think of me like this. But it's the hard work. You look at someone's hard work and dedication, and that's what he is, man. He's a brilliant.
I mean, someone like Sachin, he's got God-gifted talent. Of course, he's got that. But then, as you mentioned, without that level of hard work, he wouldn't have succeeded in international cricket for 25 years.
Discipline, sacrificing behaviors, everything. He sacrificed all of that for his performance, and he did it for the people of India. He said, I'm going to give happiness to the Indian people. I'm going to sacrifice. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to sacrifice whatever I want now for the people of India, so I can perform amazing and give you so much happiness. And that's what it is, isn't it? That's what you call a cricketer.
Makes sense. I want to specifically talk about the 2012 series in India. I mean, heading into the 2012 series, obviously India were on a brilliant run at home. They were doing very well at home. But then the year before, you obviously beat India 4-0 in England. Coming into that series in 2012, were you guys confident that you'd be able to pull off a historic series win? How was the belief in the camp? I'm sure you end of
Yeah,
the day you pulled it off.
yeah. Look, we had Kevin Peterson who scored quickly. We had a strong batting lineup. Like, if you want to beat India, you need batsmen to score quickly. That's what you need against the turning ball. Score quickly and have good spinners. You know, I think it's going to be very difficult for any other team coming to beat India because you either have good spinners or you have good batters. You don't have both.
Well,
And you need both to beat India, yeah. So I can't, since then, I was like, what, nearly, gosh,
9 years.
9 years.
No one's beaten India since here.
And no one's beaten India since. So, gosh, long may that continue.
I mean, definitely a historic moment. Of course, you played a huge role in the series. You're absolutely magnificent with the ball. And of course, as you mentioned, Kevin Peterson's innings at Wankhede set stuff up also for you guys, and you guys were absolutely brilliant. And of course, you said it's pretty clear that Sachin's the best player, according to you, you played against. And of course, you played with a lot of great players alongside you, right? So, who would you say is who's the best player you played alongside?
Look, for someone to take a game away was Verinder Sehwag. In a session, he could, win the game for you. You know, there were so many great players. For me, it's a good question.
Any
There's
English
so many
cricketer?
to pick from. There's not like one particular, but like, look, I loved Mike Hussey, for example. I played with him at Northants. I saw him work so hard. He used to run his, do his running between the wickets. So he used to run really hard, even when he was on double or triple hundred. So someone who maybe is quite close to me, and I've seen him grow as a coach, as a commentator, whatever. So his commitment to the game was unbelievable. So, Mike Hussey I saw him as someone like, wow, he's really worked so hard to get to where he needs to.
I mean, as you said, Mike Hussey is one of those guys who probably broke into the Aussie scene a little late because they had that great Australian team, and then he broke it only into his 30s, and that showed how much hard work he had to put in to be there, get there, and succeed also for a sustained amount of time, right?
Absolutely. There's a lot of players who come in their 30s and they don't really have the game in order, but he had to have his game in order. So he's like going in, playing 20, 30 test matches when he's playing his first one. And he had to, use his experience and play from the ball one. And it was brilliant. I remember when I played against him at Australia, me bowling to Mike Hussey gave me the memories at Northants, where all my Northants coaches were really proud that, look, 1 minute I was telling both of you guys to come out of the nets at Northants, and now you're playing against each other in an Ashes test. So that was a very special moment for all of us.
Yeah, definitely. Talking about cricket, of course, you played for a long time for England and all that. How would you describe that Cardiff 2009 moment with Jimmy Anderson, where you guys, I think, batted for 12 overs and pulled off an incredible piece in the Ashes series? How would you describe that partnership? What was the conversation between you and Anderson in that period?
Yeah, we just took it ball by ball. And you know what it is? The funny thing is that that's how both of us kind of approach maybe, life in a way, ball by ball. We don't think about too far ahead what's going to happen, And that's what I do every walk of life. You're only good your next hour. You're only good the next day. That's how good you are. You don't have to look too far ahead. And that's what we did. We're only good until the next ball. The ball turned and beat the bat, and Jimmy's like, oh, we're still here, mate. Next ball. And it was that kind of attitude, it didn't faze us. And we thought we'll get out at some point anyway, so it doesn't matter. But we just battled. And in the end, we kind of found a way to actually
Draw the game.
save the test match.
Yeah,
that was a great feeling.
The atmosphere must have been brilliant, right? At Cardiff?
Yes. The atmosphere was amazing. So, really, really enjoyed, everything that there was, the stadium, everything about it. So, yeah, absolutely amazing.
All right. So a couple of questions before we wrap it up. What would you say in your long cricketing career is your proudest moment? Which moment did you say that, okay, great, this is the best moment for me in my cricketing career?
Yeah, look, I've got to say when we won in Mumbai, we got to say, gosh, Cardiff Test match was a great moment. In Australia when we won the Ashes and I didn't really play there. Then, making my debut. No, there's so many great moments. Having a fifer at Lords. My first fifer against Sri Lanka. So yeah, there was some great, great moments. Probably has to be the Cardiff one. I'm not known for my batting, but that was probably one of my finest moments. In an England shirt.
And it must have been even more special considering it was the Ashes.
Yes, absolutely. Against Australia, they were a good team then, and I remember the next Test match. Andrew Flintoff famously took 5 wickets and won that game for England. So it kind of was the momentum that we needed, and it helped us to win the Ashes during that time.
All right. Just a few questions to wrap it up. You've obviously told in many places that you're a very diehard Arsenal fan. So how long have you been watching the sport, and since when did you start supporting Arsenal?
Yeah, I supported Arsenal since a young day, since a 10, 11-year-old, George Graham days, that's when I supported them. And Ian Wright was there. So, yeah, Arsenal's always been my team.
Oh, nice. Right. So Wright is your inspiration in some ways when it comes to football, right?
Absolutely. Someone who's did really well when he played for England, was a great striker. And now he's a successful, commentary and TV pundit.
All right. Thanks a lot, Monty. So we just do have a quick rapid fire now, just a few questions. Of course, with the advent of T20 cricket and so many leagues, of course, the 100 was supposed to take place this year. It's probably going to be pushed to the next year now. And with the IPL, PSL, so many leagues, T20 cricket's obviously taken a lot in recent times, right? But still, out of the 3 formats, Test, One Dayers, and T20s, for you as a viewer or for you as a cricketer, which one do you prefer?
T20 is good. Test cricket's good. You need both.
Makes sense. Okay. So of course you've got the Fab Four, right? You've got Virat Kohli, you've got Steve Smith, you've got Joe Root, you've got Kane Williamson. Out of those 4, which one do you rate the highest, and who do you enjoy watching the most?
Look, it's. I think for Test cricket, I'll probably prefer Steve Smith. T20, I'll probably say Virat Kohli. I think when you have tough conditions, I'll say Kane Williamson is probably the best player for that. Joe Root, nice flat wicket, free flowing, he's good. I've got to say Virat Kohli on conditions which are away from India. I actually like watching him playing away from home. I like the way that myth of an Indian batsman who can't play away from home. He seems to, So against Australia, it's obviously when he plays in Australia, South Africa, I like it. I like watching him against the moving ball. I think he plays that really well.
Yeah, and he obviously relishes the challenge. He loves doing well against Australia, England, South Africa, as you mentioned. That probably gets him up more than performing in India against any other team at home, right?
Yeah, I prefer watching him away from India because I think it's a bit too easy in India for him.
Yeah. Okay. So next question is, who do you think currently is the best spinner in the world? It could be Test, One Day, T20s, but we'll stick to Test. Yeah. Who do you think is the best Test spinner in the world?
Ravinder Ashwin.
Oh, Ashwin. All right.
Yeah.
So that's good. And finally, last question would be, of course, you had 2 great moments specifically. One was Sachin's wicket. The other was the Cardiff game. But if you had to choose between one of them, which would you rate higher? At least in terms of which gave you more joy?
I would probably say, gosh, probably has to be Sachin's wicket, in terms of just sheer joy and impact. I'll say Sachin's wicket.
All right. And last question, definitely the last one. Which one would you prefer? Would you rather say England win against India next month? I mean, in January, or would you rather say England win the World T20 next year, end of next year?
I think India win the T20.
All right, Monty. It was an absolute pleasure having you. Thanks a lot for your time, and thank you for spending your time here. And it was genuinely brilliant. So thanks a lot again, Monty.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Monty.